There are going to be a lot of problems this year having to do with ratios and conversions. All conversion problems are ratio problems. And this is a very, very common problem, and you will see this probably every week in the class. Okay, to do a ratio problem, the first thing you need to have is the conversion ratio. Okay, that is critical. By the way, any problem that talks about time in minutes and seconds, or feet and inches, or speed, miles per hour, feet per second, kilometers per whatever, per day, all these are rate and ratio problems, and they're all done the same way. The first thing you need is the conversion ratio. You must know the conversion ratio. So let's say you wanted to convert feet to inches. You have to know the conversion ratio. So the first thing you do is you have to think about what the conversion ratio is between feet and inches. Okay, feet and inches. So let's think about this. Feet and inches. How many inches are in a foot, or how many feet are in an inch? Okay, how many inches in a foot? There are 12 inches in a foot. So the first thing you have to do is write down the conversion ratio. Okay? That's the first step. Then you do an equal sign, and then you do one of those things. Okay? Sorry for the interruption, but I guess they're going to Hong Kong, and they're speaking in Chinese. Okay. Then okay, this is what you have. Then you write down inches and feet here, right? And now you have to figure out what you have and what you need to know. Let's say you're given inches. Let's say you're given 120 inches. Let's make it easy, right? Let's say they're given 120 inches. You want to know how many feet, right? So then you just make an X there, okay? And then you do cross multiply, right? This is an equation, right? So you cross multiply. 12x is equal to 120. You divide both sides by 12, right? You divide both sides by 12. And then you get x equals 120 divided by 12. Or x is equal to, making more space, x is equal to 10. So the answer is 10 feet. You see how you do this? It's absolutely critical to first write down, you have to first write down the conversion ratio. And then, okay, first write down the conversion ratio, write down the equal sign, write down the line, and then put the units in, and then figure out what you have, what you need to find out, and you just cross multiply and get the answer. So let's do a problem related to your homework. Let's do, we're having a problem with the text stuff. No problem. Okay, so let's do the one, write a variable expression for a length of feet if you know the number of inches. Okay, it's a ratio problem. It's a conversion problem. You have to write down the ratio, the conversion ratio. Okay, so we have 12 inches is 1 foot. All the problems start the same way. You have to write that down. Okay, then you do an equal sign. Then you do this thing, right? And then you put inches here, and you put inches here, and then you put feet. Okay, or feet, right? Feet, okay, feet. Now, let's look at the problem. Write a variable expression for a length of feet if you know the number of inches. So you know the number of inches. The number of inches is I inches, right? I inches, okay. You want to know the number of feet. So in this case, it's x, right? Because you want to know the number of feet. You have I inches and x. I is a variable. I is a variable. I is a variable. See that? I is a variable. I is a variable. It's a variable. Got to get used to that. You really got to get used to that. But it's hard to get used to the fact that you can have an I there and it's a variable. Okay? It's a while to get used to that, but you got to get used to it. Okay, so now you do cross multiplying. 12x is equal to I times 1, right? Now you want to solve for x. Don't get confused. You're not solving for I, you're solving for x. This is where it really gets confusing. You have to figure out what you're solving for. Okay? So x, the answer is I divided by 12. That's the answer. Okay? So let's do the one here, the actual homework problem. Okay, write a variable expression for length of time in minutes if you know the number of seconds. First of all, it's minutes to seconds. Minutes to seconds, which means you have a conversion ratio from minutes to seconds to minutes. So, you think this through. How many minutes are in a second or how many seconds are in a minute? How many seconds? 60 seconds in a minute. 60 seconds, da 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 da, 1 minute, right? Okay, always start the same way. You must have the conversion ratio. You must have that conversion ratio. Equals, okay, da 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 da. Now, here, you type seconds. As you always do with all ratio problems, right? You always put the units in, seconds. Now you have to figure out what you know, what you don't know. Let's read it, right? A variable expression for a length of time in minutes if you know the number of seconds. Oh, right, the number of seconds is S. Number of seconds is S. So you know S, which means you have to calculate the number of minutes. That's an X, okay? You have an equation. 60 over 1 equals S over X. Cross multiply. 60 times X equals S times 1. Now it gets confusing. What do you solve for? You got an X and an S, okay? You solve for X, or solve for X. How do you get X alone? You divide both sides by 60. So you get S is equal to S times 1, which is also S, divided by 60. So the answer is S divided by 60, which that is the answer in minutes. And that's the answer that you get. That is part B. Okay, I hope this helps, but all ratio rate conversion problems are all done the same way. You must have this thing. You must. It's going to be an interesting shape. You must start with the conversion ratio, okay? That is how you start the problem. And then you make the equal sign, and then you put the units in. You have to figure out what the X is, what you're solving for, what you know. You do cross multiply, you divide both sides by something to isolate the X, and you get the answer. This is how you do every single one of these problems. Rates, ratios, conversion, everything. You'll see this all year, okay? So starting out now, and we will go over this again and again and again and again and again, and pretty soon you're going to get it, and you're going to know how to do these problems without any problem. Okay, take care.